Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode which I have been really wanting to host. It's all about turning our negatives, turning our missed chances into opportunities, and which is a very fantastic element that I want to discuss today in my live video in the series, An Element Creating Change by Sonalis Cubo. I am the founder, Vayjayanti Pugalia, and I'm welcoming you to today's fabulous conversation with a spectacular woman who's joining us all the way from Washington, Iowa. And yes, I have with me Margaret Vandergriff. So, Margaret, how are you doing? Can we see you, please? Yes.
Okay.
All right. Hello. Welcome,
Yay!
Margaret. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
I am fine, and thank you so much for joining me. And it is spectacular to hold you in conversation today because there's so much that I want my audience to know about you, your journey, your expertise, which is limitless. So, before I start today's session, I would like to tell the viewers that it is really difficult when we try and analyze the mistakes that we have made in our lives. When we are running a company, when as an entrepreneur, or even in our personal lives, sometimes we pursue certain relations, certain opportunities, but sometimes they just don't work out in our favor. Sometimes they're not very lucrative. What happens next is that we become obsessed about it, and then we don't know our way out of it. I think for me, the best way that probably I would relate to it is by owning it and learning from it and moving ahead. Recognizing what is that we need to focus more on. And because I think humans are very susceptible to this facade, which is, how much of cost went in it or how much of time we have given to it, and it is not materialized. But then I think the main power being a human is to extract your lesson out of it and move ahead. And to discuss about all of that, we have Margaret with us, which is absolutely very enabled in this subject because Margaret over here is a moving coach. So we would be knowing more about what a moving coach is all about. But she has an experience of more than 30 years. And here she is, working with people who are trying reinvest in the nest that they are looking out for, and she helps them. And she's created this own space, her own trademark, I should say, which is called the happy place. And this is how she manifests positivity for all of these people. And you would know more about it from the horse's mouth as to what exactly does Margaret do. So yes, Margaret, welcome to today's topic. And first of all, what is this moving coach? So I've heard like a coach, but what is a moving coach? If you would like to tell my viewers, please.
I'd love to tell your viewers it's something I sort of created myself because I saw that there wasn't really something out there to satisfy the need. And what I do is I guide midlife women from living in a place that does not meet their needs to a place that does. And I do that providing them with tools, resources, and coaching support to help them navigate their search and find their best places to move.
Right. So moving coach. And you have a tremendous experience of so many fruitful years in it. So where would you like to start? Like, I would like you to share with the viewers about firstly your life, as to what are the experiences that you have taken back from the mistakes. I don't even know if I should call it mistakes, but over here
Absolutely.
we are trying to talk how we can convert the negativity into positivity. So yes, I would be very thrilled to hear more about your life, your experiences, and what is your takeaway that you are wanting to give here to the audience.
Yes, I'd love to share that. So my business all came about because of a horrible personal misfortune that was caused by a lot of factors. But what happened was when my daughter left for college, I was there in a house that was kind of too big in a city that was too expensive. And I was just feeling like, I wanted something more. I felt like I didn't fit where I was, and I wanted to know, what was out there. And here's the rest of my life. I want to try something new. And at the time, I was married, and my husband at the time, all of a sudden, just took a job up in the middle of like pretty much nowhere. We were living in Texas, and I stayed for many years in Austin, Texas, which is a city. And I'm used to living in cities. I grew up in cities. And so his job took us out into the middle of nowhere where there's like tumbleweeds blowing by, and like it was just like nothing. It was dead. The people weren't friendly. I felt very alone and isolated. And then my ex-husband kind of got jerky, and he just kind of really got into his job and very obsessed with his job. And then he kind of wasn't very interested in me. So I was like, well, that I'm going to go into the nearest city.
Right.
And so that fell apart. And I moved into the nearest city, which was Lubbock, Texas, which wasn't a whole lot better. But I was like, at least I was in a city.
Right.
And so that's where I met my current husband. And we were both brought to West Texas by our respective ex-spouses. So that was interesting. We were both sitting there going, what are we doing here? Because neither one of us liked it.
Right.
And so when we got married, we took this long trip around the Midwest, and we got this like idea of like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. This is exactly what we want. And I don't know, it was just like a complete going down a rabbit trail. It was just somewhere we just should not have gone, but we did. And we just dove head first into it. This idea of like, oh, let's move to a small town in the Midwest, and it's going to be so awesome.
Right.
And we did it. I just like jammed that thing, and we did it. And I probably all the signs were pointing against us doing it, but we did it anyway, and got here. And it was just like, oh, what happened? And we just realized that it was completely the wrong move. It was the wrong decision. We basically moved someplace that wasn't too different from where we were, and maybe it was even just a little worse.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like, just didn't do the work that we needed to do to put us in the place where we needed to be.
Right.
And so it was through that experience, and then it was like the realization that we were in the wrong place. It took a while. You don't want to believe it at first. You're kind of like, maybe I can make it work. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe, you kind of do bargaining, you do the denial, you do you get mad about it, and then you get depressed about it. And I got really depressed about it. And then finally, I reached the point where I was like, you know what happened? Why did this even happen? And so I just went back and I retraced my steps, and I looked and I saw the things that we did wrong. And I saw the things that were external out there that were influencing us that also played a role in us making this bad decision. So I kind of took that and I was like, hey, I know we're not the only people out there making this, dumb decision to move to the wrong place, someplace that's completely wrong for us. And so I thought, there's something here, because I knew there wasn't anybody out there who was like helping people figure out where to move. Because I remember thinking at the time, I was like, man, I'd like to talk to somebody, but there's nobody really out there to talk to. And if you talk to your parents, your friends, your family, it's not the same. You're not going to get an objective viewpoint. You're going to get, people who are close to you telling you what they think. And so I was like, man, I feel like there's something here. There's an opportunity here that needs to be filled. And this was the point at which I was like, I am turning this misfortune, this huge financial, emotional, spiritual devastation experience, and I'm going to turn this into a positive, because I want to help other people not have this happen, because it's a horrible thing, and I want to prevent other people from suffering that way.
Yeah, but then how difficult was it? Like you said, spiritually, emotionally, financially, you just realized it was a wrong space where you have moved. How long did it take you to sort of just accept that, brush it off, turn that into, your positive strength, that all right, and then start incubating on it? Like, how difficult was that particular process is what I want to know.
Yeah, it was very difficult. I mean, I think it easily took 18 months to 2 years and it was the whole roller coaster of emotions, you know, and wanting it to work and just seeing that there was just no way, and then going, and there's a lot of blame, you know, too. There's a lot of like, how could I be so stupid, you know, which isn't really productive. We all know that. But it's really important to like, it's important to look at what you did and see what you did wrong and to see what else might have contributed to what happened. But I also think it's really important, you have to have compassion for yourself. I
Right.
mean, to have gone so many times of just like, you know, kicking myself so many times, it was just like, get to a point where you got to stop doing that. You know, you got to just be like, we all make mistakes. It
Right.
could have happened to anybody. It happened to me. And then I'm going to find a way to turn this into something where I can help other people. And that, you know, that means a lot to me. You know, that to me almost makes up for it.
So, Margaret, if I go back, maybe if I would want to trace back, so I'm just trying to understand the human psyche. So, yes, when we go to a place, we understand that, all right. So when I talk about place, it can be like a metaphor. You know, it can be a place, it can be a job, it can be a relationship. So we are like talking about these all these different parameters and calling them space, because at the end of the day, the fight that we put in to adjust to it, or to take out the positive strength out of it, is the same. So the day
Mm.
when you thought of, okay, now we are shifting down to Texas, you know, the day when you took the decision that, all right, new place, this is where we want to be, and stuff like that. So, and then one day you realize, no, this is probably was a wrong decision. It's not working in our favor. So, firstly, what makes a person pick up a decision that this is what I want? And then doesn't too much of thinking and analyzation goes into it? And then still the chances go wrong? What do you have to say about that?
I mean, I can speak from myself in that I didn't analyze nearly anything. I didn't think too deeply about anything. And I mean, I think it is important to analyze, and I think it's possible to overanalyze. So I think there's kind of a balance that needs to go on if you can find a way to reel yourself in from overanalyzing it. But I definitely underanalyzed and underthought the situation. I did not think it through. I wasn't honest with myself. You know, you really have to be honest with yourself. And I was totally pulled the wool over my own eyes. I wasn't paying attention to myself.
I like the word honest here, Margaret. So when people realize that something is not working in their favor and they're not accepting the whole challenge of it, do you think that they are being dishonest to themselves?
Um, I mean, there might be an element of that. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so yes, you came, you fluttered to a place, it did not work for you, and then this entire adjustment period started. You told yourself, I need to pick myself up, buckle up my shoes, and try and convert them into a strength and use it to help other people realize their happy spaces, their happy places. So, firstly, what is this happy place that you have created? What is this particular thing which belongs to you, which you've also mentioned in your bio, that you created this happy place? So what is that?
Oh, so my system is called Find Your Happy Place. And this is a method I created to help people go through the process of their, you know, going in and deciding, you know, what's really important to me, what matters most to me, what do I need, what am I looking for, what fuels me, what sustains me, and, you know, really getting into that stuff. And so I just lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
I was just asking you, what is the happy place that you have created? Yeah,
Oh, the happy place.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, so are you asking about the system or what the happy place represents?
No, the system, the entire program that you have
Okay.
made through the moving coach. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was understanding the question
Right.
properly. So
Yeah.
there's three different sections for the Find Your Happy Place system. The first one is called Dreaming and Planning Your Move. And it's what I talked about, where it goes into, really reflecting and dreaming and just kind of letting yourself go and really getting clear with yourself about what's important to you and what you really, really need. And then at the end of that segment is when people come up with what I call their ideal place profile, which is sort of like the equivalent of what like business owners call their client avatar, except
Right.
it's a place. And so I also have what I call a spark session, which is pretty much, it's the DIY Dream and Plan Your Move toolkit, which was what I just told you about the first one. That's an actual product that you can take and you can go through the exercises yourself. The spark session is more interactive, and it's one where I guide my client through the Dream and Plan Your Move process. And then at the outcome of that is we have their ideal place profile. And then they have their next steps for moving forward to try to find the places that best match their ideal place profile. And then finally, the last part of the program is if people want to do the whole program, it's an 8-week program. There's 4 coaching sessions. And what happens throughout that, we go through reflection, dreaming, initial planning, online research, identifying their top 10 prospects, and then whittling it down to their short list of 2 to 3 prospects.
Right.
And then we work together to develop what I call a scouting visit plan, because when you have your top prospects, you want to go visit them, you want to go spend time there, you want to get immersed in it and get a feel for it so you know for sure. And you need to do the scouting visit the right way, because I did it the wrong way. And I know what I should have done. And I was like, okay, you got to be really serious and very intentional about it. So I guide them in creating a plan, and also sort of like a report card they can use when they go on their scouting visits, so they can go, okay, how does this measure up according to what I think is important? How did it do? So then they can take that and they have like an objective scorecard that they can, refer to use to help in their deliberating and making their decision.
Margaret, I am so pleased that I'm speaking to you today, because till now, all that I could think about the word coach is a life coach, soft skill coach, a life skill coach, a healing coach. But here you are, a moving coach, a person who helps people analyze that the move of the space, the entire space, their entire life, which they are doing within cities, it's going to be channelizing the years to come in your lives, in your personal relation, in your work front, and probably even affect the other family members, the children, the elders in the family, or, so it's like a whole process. Sometimes we just pick up our bags and we think, oh, my opportunity lies here, and we just pick up and we go. But we don't know that maybe if we are looking at just one thing, there may be so many other things which are not going to be working to our credibility. And that's what a moving coach does. I think it's a fantastic job, Arena. I've frankly speaking, before you, I've not heard of a moving coach. It's totally exemplary for me. But tell me one thing, who are your target audience? Your customers, who are they? And do they have some specific needs or a particular niche of people who come to you? Who are these people?
Yes, well, coming from my experience of being an empty nester and just being at this point in midlife, and I think it's just such an exciting time that I decided that I really wanted to focus on working with and I chose self-employed because I wanted to choose self-employed, empty nest moms, midlife women, also couples, but people who are free to move. I mean, the whole thing is, if you're tied to a job, it's kind of hard to say, oh, I want to move to, wherever I want to move. So that's who I target. I think it's a really exciting group to target, because I feel like we're at this point in life where we're just looking ahead at like what's next. And what do we want to make of our life for the rest of our life? And it's an exciting time.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, what are your basic giveaways to these people, like, or the experiences that you have learned through the moving, the move, from your nest to the other nest that you went to? So, do you tell them something in particular when they come and visit to you? What do you have in mind for them?
Um, Really, it's more of a matter of connecting with people who are feeling like they need more, they want more adventure, they want to change their um, surroundings, they want to shake up their lives, they want more, more adventure. Um, and so, I mean, I don't really particularly have something I don't really tell them. I'm here to serve them. And so it's like whatever they bring to me, I work with that.
So that's fantastic. And what are the different ways? Can you, like, through example, explain to us anything particular that you remember that you helped these any one couple or a lady or anything that you feel comes to your mind right now, who must have taken the services of the moving coach and how their life sort of tranquilized into something more beautiful.
Yes. Well, I mean, I've had clients who have moved, and one woman, she moved and then she was single and she moved to Seattle and she fell in love and like her whole life just opened up. I mean, she had just not been having the connections that she was wanting, and she finally found a place where she was meeting people that she really felt like she belonged with and a community that she belonged in. And that's really what I strive to do, is to get people to, to feel like they belong, because I feel like that's something that you can't really minimize that. You can go, oh, I'll get by or I'll manage. But I think it's such an important sort of basic need to feel like we belong, that we're a part of a community.
So a viewer is asking, so is it like you're guiding them to find their ikigai? What is their that spiritual need, the place, the happy place, which is just not also material, but also spiritual.
Oh, absolutely. It's so much spiritual. Absolutely. I mean, because I can speak for myself living, because I'm still living in the place where I don't like. I tried to move and coronavirus hit. And so we had to postpone. But I mean, living in a place where you feel like you don't belong, it affects every aspect of your life. I mean, it does. It's hard to really enjoy things. You feel just kind of this oppression around you of just like, I'm in the wrong place, and like people, they're kind of hostile, and it's really not good. So yeah, spiritually, being in the right place is everything.
So what are the different ways that people can work with you? I would like to know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the three ways I described, I have three different program components, and one is the toolkit, which they can buy and they can go through the exercises. Um, and then the other is a spark session where I walk with them through the toolkit exercises and they get their ideal place profile. And then the third is the 8-week coaching program where I walk them through all of the planning, dreaming, research, scouting visit planning, and then they come up with their top 2 or 3 places to visit. And then if they want some follow-up coaching after that, I'm available for that too.
That's fantastic. Margaret, would you like to tell people about where they can reach you, like, so that they can read more about you, your work, see your
Yes.
work? So on all the different social media platforms that you are, I would really appreciate if you can tell the viewers as to where all they can find your beautiful work.
I'd love to. Yes, you can find me at probably the easiest way is www.themovingcoach.com. That's my website. You can also find me on Facebook at Moving Coach Margaret, and you can also find me on Pinterest at Margaret Vandergriff. And those are my main platforms right now.
And I loved your website. I just love the way how you have broken up the pieces of your story, of your journey, into these beautiful taglines, which talk about that particular sphere of your journey. So, viewers, if you actually want to really know how a story is told, how a journey is expressed in words, please go to Margaret's website. I think she has laid down her story so beautifully. The tagline she's used, the way she's described her journey, and her main takeaway is her life itself. The way she has penned down the details about how she made the wrong move and what cost her, but then how she did not give up. I am sure, Margaret, there must be cost involved. There must be hard work involved. There must be so spiritually, as you said, mentally, physically. There's so much that you put in when you moved. So it's important for people just go through her story there on her website. Maybe somewhere you can connect to something which sort of is synonym to our life. Maybe not in terms of the space, as I said. Over here, I'm talking about space as a metaphor. It can be a relationship, it can be a job, it can be for students, it can be one particular study line that they are in, which finds suffocation as prime emotion in your mind. So there is so much that we can take back from today's session, because the moving coach is also about the moving emotions that she targets and how she helps her clients to pick up the right place, for them, which is going to be good for them and their family. Okay, so this particular viewer wants to know, what are the typical age bracket of people who come to you?
Yeah, they tend to be in the 40 to 60 range.
So do you think it is mainly the middle-aged women or single women, or maybe divorcees, or people who are lonely who try and rehabitat themselves because they think that this place did not work for us? Do you think it is more spiritual and more emotional than financial?
I think financial enters into it a lot. But I do think that the spiritual and emotional part is super, super duper important. And I do think it's about, it's about wanting more and wondering if that can be met someplace else if it's not being met where you are.
So, Margaret, when a client comes to you as a moving coach, when you take up the project and you sort of work this happy place mentoring and sessions with the client, what are the few things that you keep in mind that should work in favor of your client? Like, do you access the lifestyle? Do you access the job? Do you access the climate? Do you access the emotional strength or the nature of the client? Because all of this plays a very important role in deciding where you want to stay. So can you give us some brief on that?
Yes, and all that stuff is stuff that we draw out in the beginning when we do the reflection and the dreaming, and we really get into a discussion, whether it's them doing the exercises themselves or with me. I mean, we really do dig down into what it is. What do you need? What is most important? What do you have to have? Or what do you really not want to have? You have to be very clear about it, and you have to be very clear about what your needs are.
That's absolutely correct. So I think, Margaret, if you ask me, they need to really have the fuel to drive, to create a new life. That fuel in their life is very important, which comes maybe from a baggage of regret. It can be from a baggage of failure. It can be from a headspace where things did not go right. But at the end of the day, the only one thing that they can do for themselves is by looking ahead and looking forward in rehabilitating themselves and trying and building a new life, because that is very important. Because I always believe if you have your face to the sunshine, the shadows never fall up front. They are always behind you. So you should always you should always have your face towards the sunshine so that everything is bright and sunny and
I like that metaphor a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's what I am. So yes, Margaret, I think I'm totally excited. I was excited to talk to you, but because the word moving coach was very fascinating for me and I wanted to know more about it. And as I said, it's my first experience in a conversation with a moving coach. Until now, I did not realize that so much of strategy can go behind deciding as to where you want to shift, for the next leg of your life. Okay, we do put in our mind, we do put in our heart, and we decide a place that, okay, now we'll be shifting from point A to point B. But if there is a mentor involved, if there is a coach involved, a guiding factor involved, in this case, people like you, I think it's an added advantage. So yes, viewers, I've had a fantastic conversation with Margaret. Please visit her profile on her website, and which is Margaret for the nth time. Can we have one more time the name of your website?
Yes, www.themovingcoach.com.
themovingcoach.com, and you can look up Margaret
Yep.
on Facebook and Instagram, and you will be able to see the amazing work she is doing. Do read her journey on her website. It's totally fantastic. Thank you, Margaret. I've had a fantastic talk with you, and
I have too. Thank you so much for inviting me.
it's my pleasure, dear. Thank you, viewers. Stay safe and good night, and I will catch you all again very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.